Monday, February 3rd, and it is great to be back. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Welcome back to the Damon Bruce Show. We're brought to you, as always, by Ike Sandwiches. Today's live stream being powered by BetUS as well. Our good friends at the Dubliner. I was rocking a Dubliner t-shirt down in Mexico, and man, we got quite a bit to talk about concerning the biggest piece of trading news that I think I've ever seen coming out of the NBA, and that's where we're starting this show today. The fact that Luka Doncic is a Los Angeles Laker is just amazing to me. And there's a part of me that feels like that should not be allowed, how little of a return. And the return is Anthony Davis, a future Hall of Fame basketball player, but still, it's not enough for a 25-year-old Luka Doncic. You know, Dallas talking about how it's worried about his conditioning. Like, shut the hell up, dude. You're worried about what you would have to pay him on the largest Supermax deal the league has ever seen. That's what you're worried about. This is financials. Or as Chef A says, maybe this is my fault, because big breaking news always happens when I am on vacation. This is what happens. Major breaking sports news. You can bet on it and my streak. It's unbelievable. Somebody says Mark Cuban fucks up again. Philip, Mark Cuban has nothing to do with this decision anymore. He sold his controlling interest of the Dallas Mavericks to Sheldon Adelson's wife, widow, whatever. Does Sheldon Adelson? I don't know. These are horrifically rich, disgusting people in Vegas. And part of the conspiracy theory, she's trying to drive down the interest in the Dallas Mavericks to the point where the Dallas Mavericks might relocate to Vegas. I've heard that this might be the end of the LeBron era and LeBron might get traded. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of things that could happen off of this, because this is the one thing that could not happen. There's no way any team would ever trade Luka Doncic, but it has happened. It's unbelievable. I am literally walking out of a fish show in Mexico, walking off the beach, fourth night in a row, being at a fish show, and we're walking past the club and the pool, and the oons is all happening, and I'm hearing all these fans who are checking their phone for the first time. I didn't even bring my phone to the show with me. I don't want any documented evidence of me being at the show. And, you know, I'm like, am I high? Did I just hear somebody say Luka Doncic got traded? I'm like, that can't be real. That sounds like a goofy rumor. And somebody there. No, there's no way. Wait, Luka Doncic got traded to the Lakers? No, that can't happen. Literally, I get home, I check my phone an hour later. I'm like, holy shit, this is happening? When so much of the conversation about the Warriors and Steph Curry is about and them looking for two timelines, the Lakers just found their other timeline. They're out of the LeBron timeline business now. They're in the Luka Doncic timeline business now. And in the name of being in a two timeline business, the Warriors are just ending Steph Curry's timeline. Again, the Lakers get Luka, Steph Curry gets nada. The Warriors haven't done shit to make this season better, this team better. There is so much paralysis by overanalysis going on, and it looks like the one idea that they might have had, were about to have, to get in business with Jimmy Butler was shut down by Jimmy Butler, who said, I'm not going to sign an extension with you. Thank you, Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler just prevented the Warriors from doing one of the worst things that they could do. And it sounds like they were about to do it. You, of course, have probably already seen the story that the Warriors were very close with the Bulls on both Zach LaVine and Vucevic. They do neither, and LaVine gets put in a 3-team trade that has De'Aaron Fox going to San Antonio and LaVine now in Sacramento. So the Warriors, by overanalysis and paralysis, don't get that either. I guess Vucevic is still out there, but come on. They're doing nothing. They're doing nothing. Now, if the story is true that LeBron was told about this Luka thing, he had no idea. That means he doesn't have nearly the juice with the Lakers that he used to have. And maybe the Lakers are about to then do something crazy like trade LeBron. but I doubt it. I don't think you bring in Luka to now break up Luka and LeBron because everybody in LA's got a freaking Laker, Luka, LeBron, LeBoner over that. So that's what they're going to turn around and sell. The Warriors will be selling Steph Curry trying to work harder than anyone should ever have to work to get a shot off while no defense is happening around him and nobody else scores along with him. That's what the Warriors are now selling. It's not great where the Warriors are. What, the trade deadline? Be here in 3 days, February 6th. Can be a very interesting few hours or not interesting at all. I can't click on another story. The amount of Warriors might do. That's the number one thing I hate about new modern media, by the way. Number one thing I hate about it is you got to write about what must happen, what might happen on a daily basis for the clicks to feed the beast. And I'm so sick and tired of hearing about what might happen. When something does, let me know. The might do it. They might be interested in. They might be talking to. The Warriors might be thinking about maybe doing something possibly, maybe in the future, down the road, maybe. I can't click on that story another time. I can't. I don't have it in me anymore to click on that story. I'm incapable of that click. Somebody says Damon's a little blurry. Okay, so I am a little blurry. Well, here's the deal. So when I go down, oh, hey, Bay Area baller, good to see you. Looks like I'm watching on Game Boy. Why am I blurry? Is it because I shut down the camera when I left for a week and I put it back on? Am I not totally in focus here? Does that make it better or worse? That feels worse now. Much worse now. I should not have started tinkering with this during the show. We okay? We good now? Baller, I'm using you as my producer here. You're good now. Thank you. Bay Area baller. Cheers, brother. Thank you so much for helping. I appreciate that. There we go. Huge Oski Bear. Not blurry anymore. Good. Looks fine now. There we go. See, you thought you were on drugs. No, that was me in Mexico. We're all back now. Let's keep it unblurry. So anyways, it is great to be back. It is awesome to be here. Again, thank you so much to our sponsors for making this happen. My man Ike has a delicious sandwich just waiting for you at one of his now over 100 locations, including the location that is open in New Orleans. The big grand plan was going to be should the 49ers have reached the Super Bowl, I was going to walk off that beach in Mexico and fly straight to New Orleans to cover the Super Bowl and eat a whole bunch of Ikes and hang out with my buddy in New Orleans, getting ready for the big game and a whole bunch of Ben. The 49ers blew it. But you can still get an Ike's in New Orleans now. So if you're on your way there, and if you're on the West Coast and there's an Ike's near you, my God, get that sandwich. It is absolutely delicious. We thank our good friends at the Dubliner. I was rocking a Dubliner West Portal shirt in Mexico. I had a couple of other Bay Area people come up and say, I love the Dubliner. Dubliner West Portal in Mexico. Dude, people love you, Dubliner, and so do I. Thank you so much to our good friends at the Dubliner for sponsoring the show. And as always, we are brought to you. Today's live stream is powered by BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 when you sign up for all your Super Bowl props and player picks and bets that you got coming up for the big game. 150% sign up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 over with our good friends on BetUS. And it's going to be one of the more heavily bet weeks of the year around the world of sports, obviously, with Super Bowl Sunday on the horizon. And what I would love for you to do is make a bet to come out and join me. Let's hang out. Let's watch the Super Bowl together. We're going to be doing it at the Halfway Club on Geneva. My buddy's bar, the Halfway Club on Geneva, is the Old Broken Record. They're now nominated a James Beard Award nominee for the best new bar in America. And they have given us the back room, and we'll be doing drink and booze and food specials throughout the game. So come on out this Super Bowl Sunday. Hopefully hang out with a whole bunch of other ploosters. Hopefully we got Smiley Dan coming out, keeping us all safe. We will have safety meetings in the patio. We will all be so safe. We will be so safe. I just know it together during this Super Bowl. So come on out and let's see if the Chiefs actually win 3 in a row or if the Philadelphia Eagles, clearly America's choice in this game, can't upset them. So come on out, Halfway Club this Sunday for the big game, drink specials, food specials, big screen TV in the back room, all to ourselves. Come on and hang out with yours truly and a whole bunch of like-minded plusers this Sunday for the Super Bowl. What is this? I live in San Jose, and for how this team is playing, it's just too far to see them live. I can watch them go 24-24 from home. I think he's talking about the Warriors. They're just the biggest scoop of mediocre and have been. The Warriors have been screaming, do something other than do nothing, and they continue to do nothing as if that's the right thing to do, and it's driving everybody nuts. So come on out and get a drink with us on Super Bowl Sunday at the Halfway Club. You need a drink today, go to the Dublin and West portal. You need a sandwich today. I want you to go to Ike's and get that sandwich. And if you need to make a bet today, go to BetUS. Thank you to all of our sponsors. What I need you to do now is hit like and subscribe on this show, on this live stream. Again, the Warriors talked with the Bulls. Mark Stein says that the Golden State Warriors explored a trade with Chicago that would have brought both Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic to the Warriors before deciding to pursue other moves. What other moves? What other moves? What is really out there for them available to do, and do they have the balls to do it? I don't think they do. I think the Warriors are looking at themselves, and they're going to go down with this ship. I don't know why. It seems odd. You're telling me, well, this offseason, they're going to be able to add blah, 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 blah. Well, that's great. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to have wasted one of the few precious remaining years of Steph Curry being a viable centerpiece on a championship team. And that's not even going to come close to happening. I would say that the Warriors right now are closer to the lottery than the playoffs. And that's why they, as they evaluate their own situation, I think they feel that way too. And that's why they're so hesitant to do anything. And the amount of should have done that, but didn't do that are now like officially stacking up against this franchise in a way that I don't know if they can come back from it. I really don't. The amount of things that could have done, might have happened, but didn't because they made other decisions is something else. You know, in any one moment in time, you looked at it and you said, no big deal. But when you add it up and you didn't do that and you didn't do that and you didn't do that and you drafted that guy when you should have drafted that guy and then you didn't do that and you didn't make that trade and you didn't get aggressive over here for this. And every single time the Warriors are on the wrong end of the stick, whether the trade they did or didn't make, the player they did or didn't take, the James Wiseman decision, you know, having Jonathan Kuminga yet still not being sold internally on who he is, having Draymond Green punch Jordan Poole that's scuttled a whole year, and whether or not young players even want to be around this team, like it is something freaking else. The corner that they sort of painted themselves into. And as Kruger and I were talking about on Wake Up, it was more Kruger that brought it up than Ida, but Joe Lacob really is starting to morph into a little bit of a modern type of Jerry Jones, where when it comes to increasing the value and overall attention that his franchise gets, there's no arguing with his success. But when it comes to arguing with decisions made that actually translate to the success you get at the end of a game, you know, Mike Dunleavy getting vetoed by Lacob or Lacob's kids with every idea. Is that what's happening here? Something sounds good, but for whatever reason, not good enough to a younger Lacob, therefore it doesn't happen. Is that what's going on? Because if that is what's going on, the amount of you're kind of fucked now really doesn't end anytime soon for Warriors fans, but being fucked in perpetuity is something that Warriors fans were very used to and then got spoiled with one of the greatest runs of all time. It really looks and feels like this greatest run of all time. One of them is over, and I don't know if they're going to be able to resuscitate this body. You know, they got the paddles, they're rubbing them together. They put all the belly jelly on the person that you got to put the paddles on, but for whatever reason, they never reach forward and go clear, boom, and bring the whole thing back to life. They don't do it. Joe says Wiseman was a blunder. Is he in the league still? He signed in the offseason with the Pacers and then, stop me if you've heard this one before, got hurt. James Wiseman is never going to have an NBA career. Just isn't going to happen. He doesn't have the body to do it, and I don't think he's got the dog in him to really want it. I agree with you, Sporticist. I'm more convinced than ever than Bob Myers saw this coming. Yeah, I think Bob Myers got off the ship right when he saw that iceberg. And I think there were several icebergs. It wasn't like the Warriors are being scuttled because they've hit one iceberg. There's several little icebergs that they have bumped into on the way to sort of sinking their own competitive ship right now. Bob Myers is more interested in being a part of that Washington Commanders front office than he was remaining and playing cleanup boy on Isle Curry with the Golden State Warriors. Maybe he's a guy that would still be here if more of his ideas would have either been embraced by the owner or the coach. It seemed that there was like a difference in philosophies. I don't know. But it ain't working out great. The Kings traded De'Aaron Fox. By the way, the Kings got more for De'Aaron Fox than the Dallas Mavericks got for Luka Doncic. The Kings trade De'Aaron Fox in a 3-team trade. He lands in San Antonio. Zach LaVine is now in Sacramento. And the Bulls, they regained a 2025 first-round pick from San Antonio and get 3 players, Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and Kevin Huerter, who comes from Sacramento. Collins and Jones come from the Spurs. So the Bulls get picks returned to them and a poo-poo platter of players, with Huerter being interesting, Trey Jones, interesting. Zach Collins maybe is interesting. I think pairing De'Aaron Fox with Victor Wembanyama, okay, let's see what that looks like. That's a little interesting. Zach LaVine playing pretty well. If he can stay healthy ever for more than 2 months in a row, maybe that gets interesting in Sacramento. I don't know. Hard to predict any success ever being attached to the Kings. But again, the Warriors, what? Did they pivot away from LaVine and Vucevic in the name of they started really batting their eyelashes at Jimmy Butler, only to hear that Jimmy Butler said, I ain't interested in dancing with you for more than one song. So you trade for me, great. I'm not signing an extension, which means you don't trade for Jimmy Butler. Oh, also, with the total jackassery that Jimmy Butler is pulling and just hearing how much he's worn out his welcome in his own locker room and his own teammates don't like him anymore, and teammates not liking Jimmy Butler has officially followed him to 2 or 3 stops. I just don't think there's a part of me that loves Jimmy Butler, the dog. I do. But the way that Jimmy Butler is turned into cantankerous, complaining, meddling Jimmy Butler here at the end, no thanks. Not at the age, not at the price. So Jimmy Butler, I think, helps the Warriors make one of the better decisions that they're not going to make, because he told them, don't trade for me, when they might have been about to, which means had they known that, would they have then gone back to the Bulls to get that LaVine and Vucevic deal? But that it's not available anymore because the Kings jumped all over LaVine, and there you go. More paralysis by overanalysis, maybe? I don't know. But if, the Warriors really did have something cooking with LaVine and Vucevic, and they didn't get aggressive enough to get it done quickly enough, and then they wanted to return to it, but now cannot. Oh, that's embarrassing. That ain't good. That would not be good. So, again, that Luka trade, it's the hardest to explain trade for a team to defend in NBA history. Why did you just trade a 25-year-old 30-point walking triple-double who, if we had an NBA dispersal draft, it's between him or Victor Wembanyama being the number 1 overall pick in the draft. And given that Luka's already been selected to several all-star teams and all-pro NBA teams and all that stuff, it's probably Luka. Guy who handles the ball more because he's your point guard. Although Wembanyama is whatever he is, he's just an alien. But you can never be taken seriously as a franchise to have an asset like Luka Doncic and think trade. Like the Dallas Mavericks should basically fold the tent and stop playing basketball in the city of Dallas. Because how could you ever trust them again as a Mavericks fan? Doncic would have made the largest deal in NBA history. His Supermax would have cost the Mavericks $346 million over 5 years. Now he's going to be eligible for much less than that because you can't sign a Supermax once you get traded in that first extension. So this is going to cost Luka some money, but the amount of money that he'll be able to do around his career now as a Laker is going to just explode. He will have a $1 billion career when it's all said and done. Here's the thing. The Lakers know how to take care of a superstar. The Dallas Mavericks, outside of Dirk Nowitzki, don't. They don't. They don't know how to accommodate that star. And it sounded like the contentious relationship that the Mavericks and Luka Doncic had was insolvable. And they can say and leak all the didn't like his conditioning nonsense that they can. Luka Doncic, as Ryan Russillo said, he could literally be coming up the court with the ball and a cigarette. You give him a Supermax deal. Like, that's who he is. He's that skilled. The guy doesn't even need to play fast to dominate a game. Luka, moving slowly, dominates an NBA game more than De'Aaron Fox has ever dominated a game moving quickly, that's for sure. I'll tell you what's broken about this deal is the amount of money. Like, the NBA has so fuckered itself with Supermax and the current CBA. I mean, you basically got a guy like Luka on a Supermax. That's what franchises used to be worth. Joe Lacob paid for the Golden State Warriors what the Dallas Mavericks will have to pay for Luka. And Mark Cuban, who's officially smarter than any other sports owner out there, I think he bought in at the right time and he got out at the right time. And that's what smart cats do. I think he looks at a league that is going to run into ratings issues, insolvency issues, teams that can no longer afford to keep their best players, which means you're going to have a whole bunch of trust issues with your own fans. I think he's looking at a TV contract that is fuckered. I think he's looking at an economics just reality that isn't not going to be sustainable. And he just decided, I am out. I am out. Again, trading Luka Doncic. What is that the equivalent of? It's hard to even come up with an equivalent. What is that? How old was Babe Ruth when he got traded? I mean, I don't think he was 25. Luka's 25. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, we believe that you got to be more defensively minded. Okay, Luka just had your ass in the NBA Finals. Okay, so we traded for Anthony Davis because he's more defensively minded. Oh, yeah, Anthony Davis without LeBron has never been so defensively minded. That team won jack. I don't get it. Again, you can't explain it to me. No matter how hard the Dallas Mavericks try, you can't explain it to me. You can't make it make sense. It's impossible because it doesn't. Unless the answer is we're too cheap to play in these deep waters. And that, I think, is the more truth to it than anything else. Let's see. When it comes to the 49ers, what do I have to tell you other than it seems like everybody is very excited that Robert Saleh is back in the room. It seems like Fred Warner and Nick Bosa and the guys that talk about playing for Saleh are thrilled to be playing for Saleh again, says that he brings that right amount of energy that D'Amico Ryans brought. And, you know, they don't talk about the energy levels of Steve Wilkes nor of the energy level of Nick Sorensen. You know, what good is energy if you don't have the right players and the right game plan? It probably doesn't mean much. But these players are thrilled to be playing for Saleh again, and I do think that that means something. You know, whether it's lip service or not, playing for a motivating, knows how to fire up his coach is a good thing for a football team. And the offensive-minded coach can't always be the fire and brimstone guy. You know, you got to be a little bit more coordinated offensively than you can just start pinning your ears back and going fucking shit up like you can on defense. I think defensive players respond better to that. And the fact that Saleh is already apparently lobbying for Dre Greenlaw to come back, that makes an awful lot of sense to me. That makes me happy. So a fire-breathing Robert Saleh back in the room, getting his DNA back all over that room. Sounds like a good plan to me. 12 years ago today, the 49ers were beaten in Super Bowl 47 by the Baltimore Ravens. Time flies, and I can't believe that was 12 years ago. 12 years ago tonight, February 3rd, Jacoby Jones's 108-yard return to start the second half is still the longest play in Super Bowl history. The Beyonce, well, I don't think Beyonce caused the blackout, but the blackout that happened after Beyonce's performance, that is the only blackout in Super Bowl history. By the way, who's having a better week than Kendrick Lamar? He's scooped up all those Grammys and he's playing the Super Bowl. Who's having a worse week than Drake and Canada? Got Drake just getting raked over the coals. You got a 25% tariff. This just rough being Canada. Although all of those savings will be passed along to us. Fuck around and find out crowds in for the rude awakening. Fades to Michael Crabtree. Not handing the ball to Frank Gore are the defining features of that Super Bowl, along with the Jacoby Jones 108-yard kickoff return, the blackout. Oh, that's the one that got away from the Niners, man. They gagged that one away more than they did either of the Kansas City Super Bowls, if we're being totally honest about this. Because this Kansas City team might be about to prove to us that it's one of the greatest teams of all time. That Baltimore Ravens team was not. Not. Let's see what else happened in the NFL while I was gone, while I was on vacation. Myles Garrett this morning has put himself on the trade block. I don't think the Cleveland Browns want anything to do with it, but Myles Garrett went public today with his desire to be traded. Every single team in football has to call the Cleveland Browns. They've already said, don't bother calling. We're not shopping. But given the financial hell that the Cleveland Browns are in, they can't just be uninterested in this as they claim to be. So that's something to keep an eye on as the NFL draft starts to approach. Myles Garrett on the block. He says, let's see what the Cleveland Browns say. I saw that Chip Kelly is leaving Columbus. He's saying goodbye to Ohio State after 1 year as their offensive coordinator to become Pete Carroll's offensive coordinator in Las Vegas. Larry was crapping all over the deal. I'm not. I think that like that could be interesting, actually. Chip Kelly calling offense, not being a head coach. Pete Carroll setting the tone, defensive mastermind. Now, we all know that the Raiders screw everything they touch up. But this is more credibility in their coaching room than they've had since they've gotten to Las Vegas. So I'll give them that, since they lost John Gruden anyway. The only other bit of NFL news that I saw, again, I was on vacation. I really unplugged. It was great. What Washington Commanders owner Josh Harris liked this team's success enough this year, and I guess is grown enough accustomed to the name where he says, After a little buzz about maybe them returning to Redskins or going in another direction, they're sticking with Commanders. So Commanders apparently is here to stay. Sorry, Brandon. Damn, you had to bring up Super Bowl memories. I'm sorry, Brandon, not Brendan. I'm sorry. Again, didn't mean to. 12 years ago, man. God, that happened fast. All right. Let's see. Let me say congratulations to my friend Bonte Hill. Bonte is leaving 95.7 The Game for a full-time television gig on CSN Bay Area. Good for him. That's going to get him back to some normal livable work hours. He's going to be able to spend more time with his family. I'm so happy for Bonte. Again, I've known Bonte since he was an intern at KNBR. So I'm so happy for the guy. I really, truly am. Congratulations to him. Matt Barrows and his sister have written a crime novel. I'm seeing we got Bay Area sports writer Matt Barrows is getting into the novelist business with his sister. They wrote a crime novel. Okay, that happened while I was in Mexico. Major news breaking. While I'm on vacation, I guess that's it too. And I got to tell you, when I was in Mexico, there's something that happened in a sports department of Luka that's going to stay with me for a long time. Just hearing that news start to ripple through the crowd on the way out of a fish show. I'm like, what am I still high? What am I on mushrooms? What am I still in my parallel universe? Luka Doncic got traded. I can't believe it. But there was buzz of that happening. As soon as that happened, people leaving the show, turning their phones on, starting to find out. Unfreaking believable. So I forgot my hat. Rookie move. Someone who's been to Mexico, 5, 6, 7 times. Don't forget a hat. Don't forget your sunscreen. I forgot a hat. All the packing that I did, I forgot a hat. Jillian said, wait a minute, I brought an extra hat. She had her big, pretty lady sundress hat by the pool that she wore every day, by the beach. But she brought a Giants hat with her too. So for the first time in my life, I walked around wearing a San Francisco Giants hat. And let me just tell you that anyone who had LA Dodger written a t-shirt, a hat, shorts, whatever, I got crapped on by every single Dodger fan who saw me wearing a Giants hat. Not a couple of them, not some of them. Girls wearing Dodger gear were walking up to me going, hey, getting ready for spring training? Like, you guys are going to suck this year. And I was just like, hey, I'm just wearing the hat. It's not a you guys situation. But yeah, it's about to be a rough go for Giants fans, I think, this upcoming year. You better go out and get Pete Alonso here. I mean, good God. Every single Dodger fan who saw that Giants hat wanted to start talking baseball with me real quick. And it wasn't because the rivalry has been great. It's because they're about to so thoroughly skin the Giants alive. For about 4 or 5 years here, at the very least. Oh, man. It's going to be rough. Ujowski Bear, my buddy was down in Riviera Maya for the shows. I asked him how it was going, and if he sent me some photos, the first one had you and Jillian standing right in front of him. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Unbelievable. Kids were ripping Damon. Yeah, I was getting trolled by Dodgers fans. Again, glad you were repping the orange and black. I was wearing a Giants hat out of function, not fashion. I needed a hat. I would literally look like a lobster had I not worn a hat. I am going to have to make sure that I'm a little less blurry here on tomorrow's show. I'm going to have to do some more focusing, touching up. It was completely accidental. He's not a sports fan. He doesn't know who you are. How about that? That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's a small world out there. By the way, sip of the day is gone. I'm sitting here like trying to get grains out of the bottom of that, which means I got to go grab some coffee, which means I got to spend the rest of my afternoon getting deep back into sports over here. Again, our plane landed at like 9 o'clock last night. We had enough time to come home, go to bed, wake up this morning and do some shows. But it is great to be back. It really is. You know, there are several people out there who got jobs that they need breaks from. Now, it was nice to take a little break. It was great to have Jillian and I go spend 5 days kid-free together in a location that was just, it was great. We had such a fun time together. But I really do. I miss doing shows when I can't get to do them. It is good being back here. I love hanging out with you. I love our time together here. And hopefully, again, you plan on spending some time together with me on Super Bowl Sunday. We're going to get together at the Halfway Club. The game kicks off around 3:30. Let's just say be there by 3 o'clock. And we're going to be at the Halfway Club to watch the Super Bowl. So come on to the back room, food and drink specials, gathering of like-minded good people who are down with the plus. We hope to see you there. We really, really do. Again, thank you so much to our sponsors. My man Ike, again, just boom. That's in focus. I know everyone can focus on that. Look at that gorgeous sandwich. Go get a Damon Bruce. Do it at Ike's today. Sign up for that Love Rewards program. Start earning your way towards free sandwiches. Our friends at the Dubliner West Portal, love those guys. Love that bar. My kind of people. Rock the t-shirt in Mexico. Got Dubliner shout-outs in Mexico. And thanks to them for being incredible sponsors, as with our good friends at BetUS. And use promo code YouTube150 when you sign up to do some big game gambling, some props, some player props, some game props, all available to you over on BetUS. And 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 when you use promo code YouTube150. And that is how we get down and how we officially end the show, as you do know, is with a little today in history. Not the busiest day in history. We always like to start with a happy birthday. Happy birthday to actor Nathan Lane. The guy's always funny. He's so funny in the movie The Birdcage. Nathan Lane. He is one half of Timon and Pumbaa from the frickin' Lion King, right? So Hakuna Matata, happy 69th birthday to Triple Threat. He can sing, he can dance, he can act. Nathan Lane. Love him in The Producers as well. Today, we'll go all the way back in this one. Screw you, Venmo. Screw you, PayPal. Screw you, credit cards. But the very first screw you was to the concept of coins. Because today in 1690, Massachusetts issued the first paper money in the American colonies. A solid dollar that you can fold. Let me get a folding dollar. The folding dollar invented today in 1690 in Massachusetts, the first paper money issued in the American colonies. By the way, today in 1891, the official electrical lighting of London streets got underway. So the first, we're moving from kerosene candles that need to be hand lit to electricity. Started happening today in London in 1891. Today in 1959 is the day the music died. Today in 1959, singer Buddy Holly was killed in a plane crash at the age of 22, and along with Buddy Holly in that plane was Ritchie Valens and the Big Bopper. Now, Ritchie Valens, of course, gave you La Bamba, and was, like he was the first Shakira. He was like the first official crossover. Ritchie Valens was, to me, when you talk about musical catalogs that matter the most to you, I would put Ritchie Valens number 1. Buddy Holly number 2, although Buddy Holly's, like invents rock and roll in a very unique way. And he was certainly the headliner of any tour that they were playing all together in 1959. But let me just, Chantilly Lace by the Big Bopper. Chantilly Lace with a pretty face and a ponytail, a hanging down and a wiggle and a walk and a giggle in her talk, makes the world go round. Ain't nothing in the world like a big egg girl. Makes you act so funny, makes me spend my money, makes me feel real loose like a long-necked goose. Aw, baby, that's what I like. My dad taught me well. I know Big Bopper. So today's the day the music died. And of course, we got Bye Bye Miss American Pie by Don McLean all those years later. Miss American Pie is like one of the best, worst songs ever. It's a rough song, but there's something charming about it. And again, what else we have in pop culture history today in 1960? The Italian dramedy La Dolce Vita, which was directed by Fellini, had its world premiere. It's widely hailed as one of the most important films in the history of cinema. So, for you Fellini files out there, big day for you. I'm glad you got it. Big day for me. Nathan Hyatt comes in with a super sticker, little $3 sprinkle on top of today's show. Thank you, Nathan. I do appreciate that. Yeah, look at this. Day the music died. Hugh Josky Bear, not fade away. American Pie, Don McLean, it's a classic. That's what I'm saying. It's a classic. I don't even know how much I like it, but I'll agree with you. It's a classic. I don't think it's a classic I like very much, but I'll agree with you. It's a freaking classic. It was awesome hanging out with you again. I love hanging out and doing the show. I can go about 4, 5, 6 days in a row without really talking sports, but then I start getting the shakes like I'm on heroin withdrawal. So great being with you. Thanks so much for stopping on by. Hit like and subscribe on your way out, please. I hope you're making plans to come and join us at the Halfway Club on Sunday for the Super Bowl. We hope you plan on being there. Again, food and drink specials. We got the back room and the big TV all to ourselves. So come on through. I hope you're making plans to do that. And please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone. It's good to be back. It's good to be home.